Hi guys, so this is just a basic tutorial of how to prepare something for the laser cutter. Basically the laser cutter can do two things. It can either cut something out or it can engrave on it. So this just means it kind of just does a sketch on top of the material or it cuts through it. So those are kind of your two options. And basically the laser cutter always needs to read lines. So if you just pop an image onto your Illustrator file, it's not going to be able to understand it and nothing's going to happen. So it's really important that we make sure everything's aligned. So we haven't just downloaded an image, stuck it in. It always has to be aligned. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But for now, I've just created this basic smiley face at the moment. And basically what I want it to do is I want this outline to be cut out and these little face bits to be engraved. Okay? So what I want to do first is I'm going to go up to File, come down to Document Color Mode, and just make sure that's RGB color. The reason for this is that the laser engraver reads colors to determine whether you want it to be either cut or engraved. And those colors are in the RGB type. So it's just a type of color, basically coding that they use. So we're going to make sure that our file is set that way. Okay, so our next one, I'm going to focus on the cutting line. I'm just going to make this outside face cutting. So what I'm going to do is come over here to the stroke. So the stroke is basically just the line, and then over here we have fill. So at the moment we don't have any fill because we just want that line, and that's what's going to cut out. So there's two things we need to change. So to make the laser cutter cut, we need to go into RGB red. So for that, it's 255 in the red category and 0 in all of the others. Okay, so you can either change it from here or you can go to your palette and sometimes it shows you RGB red. At the moment it does not, so we're just going to leave that and focus on changing it here. So 255, 0 and 0. There you go. Okay, so see how it's changed the color to red. So that's our first step. Our second step is that because the laser cutter is only so thin, it needs to be the same size for it to understand. So I'm going to click on my outside, and then now that it's highlighted, I'm going to come over to here to the stroke. So click on that. And this is at the moment is in points, which is generally how it automatically goes. And for cutting, it needs to be 0.003. Enter. This is really thin, so you can only just see it. But that's because obviously the laser is going to be really thin and it can't color in, it just has to cut it. So for our cutting, we've got our RGB red, it's the right size stroke, and that's ready to go. And then we need to look at our smiley face. So if I just wanted the outlines of the smiley face engraved, I can reverse those and it's just the outsides. But what I want to do is have it filled in. So I'm going to use this little arrow to swap to the fill. So the fill's there. And I'm going to double click on that. And once again, this window pops up. For engraving, it needs to be RGB black. So for that, we're going to go 0, 0, and 0. Okay, so the lack of color, black. 0 RGB. And click OK. So now we've got our colored in black face and we've got our red outline. So when we put that through the laser engraver, it's going to show us, it's going to cut out this circle and engrave this face. Okay, and there's one more trick. We want to come over to here. I'll just get rid of that for a sec so we can see. And I've just clicked on Artboard tool. So basically I just want to, it's kind of cropping. your board that you're sketching on. And I'm just going to make it so that it's a bit closer to the face. And the reason I do this is because it will then automatically tell us what size piece of timber we're going to need for our face to be cut out. Okay, so then I'm just going to click off that, and it's much closer size. So from here on out, I can save that to a USB and take it over to the laser cutting computer. All right. I will pop up a copy of the instructions for the laser cutter because there's quite a few steps to follow, but they're all outlined on a piece of paper next to the laser cutter. But I'll give a few people tutorials once they need them, so they're all fresh in your mind, but this is the main part. Once your file is ready, that's the easy bit.